Sack Life Beat Depression's day 784, and we're back for more with another somatic healing session to wipe out depression. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here now. Anyone who's tuning in later, as you can tell, I'm coming at you from a brand new location. It is an illegal parking spot underneath the Williamsburg Bridge. So we'll do what we can. There it is, the iconic Williamsburg Bridge. I guess we're going to have trains and train noises going overhead, but hopefully that won't stop us from making progress. Remember, no matter what your situation, no matter what circumstance you are in, you can always find a way to make progress and to move forwards. So that will be the theme of today's class. We're going to be working actually from an adaptive position. As you can tell, I am currently seated. But before we get into that, I want to start the same way we start every single show, and that is with that powerful mental health tool of gratitude. My gratitude today going out to Curiosity by Intrinsic, to Wani, and the staff out there for opening their space and lending us an opportunity to train from there and train my hometown community and to share some of those tools. I was not able to make it today, so unfortunately, because of the rain and being on a motorcycle, it would have been too dangerous to get there, as well as the equipment would not handle, is not going to handle moisture. I don't have a waterproof setup yet, but maybe one day. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we can get a waterproof video equipment sponsor out there. If you know somebody, let them know. Hit me up in the DM. Shout me out. But we're going to show up and do what we can. So gratitude going out to Curiosity by Intrinsic for lending us that space. Also gratitude to anybody who's tuning in now or who's tuning in later to catch this show on your own time. Because I appreciate your time and your support, and you add value to what we're building out here together. When you show up for yourself, but you do so publicly, it helps to inspire and motivate others. And that's a really cool thing about self-care and progress when we make it public. We can be the change that we want to see in our lives. We can have that positive impact simply by taking care of ourselves and sharing that progress. So that's my gratitude. My gratitude is going out to all you guys and girls out there tuned in or who will be tuning in later, and also to Wani and the staff at Curiosity by Intrinsic. Go ahead and think about your piece of gratitude for today, and that'll put you in a positive mindset as we move into today's lesson. It is day 784, and that is our second mental health tool right there, progress tracking tool. Keeping track of the number of days that you show up for yourself can have a positive effect in self-confidence, self-esteem, and boost self-validation, which is something that not even depression can take away from us. So please do keep track of the number of days you're showing up for you and crushing that daily goal, and let that number build in your life. If you have a number, if you have been keeping track, please do share that number, because it also, again, it helps our neighbors, it helps our friends and our associates find motivation and see what they're capable of as well, right? We're all human beings. We're all made of the same stuff. We can all find a way forwards. It's been 784 days of consecutive progress for me, the Sackman. Let me know how many days it's been for you. And I want to shout out to Slayer Ken. Thank you for being here, brother. Appreciate you. And please do, when you get a chance, share your progress with the world. It'll help inspire others. I'm coming at you today from inside the driver's seat of my mother's Toyota Corolla, as you might be able to tell from the Winnie the Pooh steering wheel cover. But that's not going to stop us from getting in another round of progress and success. We're just going to work from an adaptive stance. So for anybody who's catching this at home, or if you are in a wheelchair situation or a seated position, you can practice today's class fully from a seated position. And if you are handy capable, you might want to check out Louise Fay Boxer. She does adaptive boxing classes on the regular, and she's doing a lot of cool stuff out there, so check her out on Instagram. That being said, the whole class today can take place from a seated position or a standing position. You can fire these moves off from both Western boxing stance or Muay Thai position. Either one will be fine. For the sake of this video, it's going to be that seated adaptive position. And hopefully I'm coming through loud and clear. I know we've got a lot of background noise. Like I said before, we are underneath the iconic Williamsburg Bridge, just parked illegally. Just finding a way to make progress out here no matter what. Tons of things going wrong, but we're focusing on the positives and we're finding our ways to move forwards. So Ken did share his days, 392 days of consecutive progress. Remember to give yourself credit for that. That's the biggest thing. Give yourself proper credit for your strength and endurance, and recognize you've got over 1 year of daily consistent progress showing up for yourself, and that is something to be proud of, because it's hard to be consistent in anything, let alone a routine that actually demands of us some energy, some effort, and takes a toll on us, and both builds us up mentally and physically, but also requires physical work. So give yourself credit for crushing those goals 392 days in a row. Shout out to Slayer Camp. Thank you for being here. All right, that being said, we're going to have our standard rounds. We'll do 3 rounds, 3 minutes each, and we're going to have 1 minute breaks in between to catch your breath and to check in on yourself. I've got my timer here, so we're going to get that going in just a second, and we'll still have the fighting spirit of the 80s coming through our sweet retro synth boombox as we work from this adaptive stance. Rather take a seated position here, still in my bedroom, taking it easy, playing it safe this time due to accidentally hurting myself from time to time in a cramped up place such as this. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you've got a couple injuries there, but hopefully you find ways to move forwards, and seated is fine, right? We've just got to show up and do what we can, when we can, where we can. There's always a way forwards. There's always a way to make that progress, and that's what we're focusing on. Progress is success. Remember, there's no limit to how much progress we can make out here. So let's do it. Let's get into the lesson. I'm going to have some tunes coming through. Hopefully they're not too loud, and you guys can hear them all right. They'll be off camera this time. We're going to work from that seated position, and we're going to start with the defense. We're going to bring that guard up by the brow line. Muay Thai based. Boom, from a seated position. Bringing that guard up high by the brow line, we want to close the fingers, roll them over, and tuck the thumbs underneath those top 2 fingers, keeping that guard high and tight. Tuck that chin and visualize that opponent in front of you. And we're going to work on rotating through. Let's see if I can get this chair a little bit higher. Yeah. We're going to work on rotating through the shoulders, right? Twisting through the shoulders and through the body, and turning that fist over, landing on those large 2 knuckles. That's what we want to make contact with. If we are training on the heavy bag, that's how we're going to prevent injury, by keeping the wrist straight and by landing on those large 2 knuckles, keeping them in line with that wrist and that forearm all the way down to the point of the elbow. We want that straight line there. We want to make sure we turn those fists over, landing on those large 2 knuckles, squeezing at the point of impact, and keeping the thumb tucked out of the way of damage. We don't want it tucked under the fingers like this, because that's a good way to snap or break the thumb, and we don't want to close the fingers over the thumb either. That's another way you can easily break your thumb. So, nothing beats car classes. Hey, shout out to Ree Brickman. Thanks for joining. Yeah, we're getting into an adaptive class today. I'm just caught up in a crazy hustle. A million things are going wrong, but we're still finding our way forwards. We're making that forwards progress. So thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the cause. And we're going to get an adaptive class today. So for adaptive stance, we'll be in a seated position, and we're going to bring that guard, like I mentioned before, up by the brow line, closing the fingers, tucking the thumbs, and we want to have that chin tucked so that we can slip punches by turning, keeping the chin tight and covering up, right? Covering up with those fists. Still keeping an eye out. We're looking through those holes in the guard so that we can keep an eye on that opponent when we're slipping punches. And we want to be able to twist through the shoulder and toss that jab and cross straight forward. Boom, boom, jab, cross. So normally if we're in standing position, you'd say your dominant hand is the cross. From here in a seated position, they're almost evenly positioned, so your jab will just be your non-dominant hand. And we're going to start with that. We're going to roll through there. We're going to start with just the jab, twisting that fist over, turning through the shoulders. Want to get as much shoulder rotation as we can while we keep that shoulder elevated and the chin tucked. Turn that fist over and make contact with that visualized opponent. We're going to work jab cross. We're going to work on some hooks, work on some uppercuts, boom, boom, and we're going to work the slip in there as well. And along with that, we'll also work on some speed training, using the breath to speed up those punches and condition ourselves. Shout out to Watasha. Thank you so much for joining as well. And let's get right into it. Take your seated position and let's get this progress show on the road. In 3, 2, 1. Visualize that opponent. Hands up by the brow line. Close the fingers. Tuck the thumbs. Remember, under the fingers. Remember to turn that fist over. And let's start with the jab. Jab. Don't just extend the fist, twist through the shoulders as well, keeping the guard high on the opposite hand, and back to position. Guard high, twist through for the jab, twist, 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 turning that fist over, boom, and letting those knuckles knock into that visualized opponent. Back to stance. We're going to add in the cross, jab, cross, rolling from one directly into the other. 2 strikes, 2 breaths, breathing in the nose and out the mouth. 1, 2, 1, 2, keep that chin tucked and guard high by the brow line. And let's go, work at your level. Twisting through, visualize that opponent, and hit him with the 1, 2. Exhaling out the mouth with each strike. You can keep that lead hand just slightly ahead, kind of block and counter. It's good defense there, get a little distance on your opponent, and make sure you're twisting through, boom, boom, and you're bringing those hands back to defend after each strike. You want to think about offense and defense at the same time here. Hit him with the 1, 2, and when that first hand goes out, keeping that defense tight, chin tucked, shoulder rolled, right? Guard high on this side. When we bring that fist back, we want to bring that fist right back to that defensive position and roll through with the other fist. So we don't want to leave it out there, and we don't want to just toss it and then toss this one and let that hand drop. We want to keep that defense high. So you can visualize or imagine that there are rubber bands attached to your wrists, and after each strike, it's going to come right back to where it was before you started. Boom, 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 boom. Work on twisting through those shoulders and turning those fists over. You can drill them right now. Drill that 1, 2. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling out the mouth. Exhale with force, and add that power breath into the whip on those punches. We're going to start to add in a little slip action now, working defense as well. We're going to toss the 1, toss the 2, and then slip the 1 and slip the 2. So the twist stays, the guard stays high. We want to get the head right off the center line if you can, twisting through the shoulders and keeping that guard tight, keeping that guard high on the brow line. Back to stance, 1, 2, 1, 2, slip the 1, slip the 2, boom, slip the 1, 2, boom, boom, and fire back with a 1, 2. Back to stance, 1, 2, turn those fists over, let them whip, and that is the end of round 1. Catch your breath, drink some water if you got it, check in on you, make sure you're doing all right. Whew, it is getting hot in this car. Hopefully things are going well. And remember, this is an adaptive class, so people who are in wheelchairs or in a seated position permanently, they can work with these tools. They can still find ways to practice self-defense and get in that exercise to challenge themselves to grow every single day. Shout out to Master Checo. Thanks for being here. We are working from an adaptive position today, joining just now. So we're practicing that jab and cross in the first round. We also practice some slips. Now we're going to talk about the hook from the left, hook from the right, and we're going to continue working that defense as well, mixing those tools together and working on the breath to keep it nice and smooth, nice and flowy. So you can do this class at home from a seated position, whether you are handy capable or not. We got 4 seconds. Pop back into stance. We're going to bring that guard high by the brow lines. Close the fingers, tuck the thumbs, tuck that chin, roll those shoulders up, right? Hit him with the 1, 2, twisting through the shoulder and turning that fist over. Boom. Keeping the thumb tucked, squeezing at the point of impact, landing on those large 2 knuckles. Notice how the fist turns like a corkscrew. As we turn through the shoulders, we turn the fist as well. Turn through the shoulders, turn the fist as well. We're bringing the shoulder up, we're keeping the chin tucked in there, and we're keeping that defense tight the whole time. Hit him with the 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Keeping that guard tight, keep it high. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now slip the 1, boom. Slip the 2, boom. And we're going to fire back with a hook from that lead hand. So as we rotate back into position, we're going to bring that side hand up, bringing the elbow up, locking at 90 degrees, and we're going to rotate through, letting those knuckles come through right onto the target and bring it back to defense. Let's practice together. Hit him with the 1, 2, 1, 2, slip the 1, boom, slip the 2, and from that slip, we're gonna fire back by tossing this arm up into the body cast and rotate, boom, whoosh, exhaling through, driving that fist into that visualized target. Back to stance, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and block the 1, slip that 1, slip the 2, fire back, boom, with that hook. Back to stance, hit him with the 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, slip, slip, 1, 2, slip, slip, fire back with the hook, whoosh. Now we can work that hook from the opposite side as well. As we bring this one back to defend the head, we're going to toss the other one out, using that rotation. Let that first move set up your second move and rotate right on through. Aim for flow. Let's go. 1, 2, 1, 2, slip the 1, slip the 2, fire the hook, and second hook. Back to stance, guard high, chin tucked and tight. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling out the mouth. Shout out to CJ, appreciate you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, slip, slip, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, slip, slip, and now we're gonna fire the hook, adaptive stance, back to position, seated position, guard tight, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, slip, 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 fire the hook, boom. It's all about that rotation. Remember, twist through those shoulders, toss those hooks, land on those large 2 knuckles. Squeeze that fist at the point of impact. Hit him with the 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, slip, 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 hook, hook, back to stance. 1, 2, 1, 2, slip, slip, hook, hook. And that is the end of round 2. Catch your breath, drink some water, check in on you, make sure you're doing all right. And you're giving yourself a challenge today. Even if you're in a seated position, you can give yourself quite a challenge. Remember that intensity is up to you to control. The volume of punches, that's up to you to control. And the energy, the speed at which you're tossing those punches as well. You can scale all of those things up. And I know personally right now, my heart rate's going up. I'm getting a light sweat going. I'm giving myself a challenge. And that's what it's all about. We gotta show up for ourselves in the moment and give ourselves that challenge so that we can grow. There's no growth in the comfort zone, so no point in staying comfortable. Let's put some work in out here. All right, so we talked about the jab, the cross, the hook, the double slips. We're going to talk a little uppercuts now, and then we're going to work on some speed punches. So to increase speed in those punches, we're going to work with the breath tool, metering that breath. Short pulses out the mouth. If you've joined us for a Superhuman Sunday, you've practiced that breath of fire before, you're going to see a lot of similarity there. So what we want to do is, starting first, we're going to work on those uppercuts. So let's toss the 1, 2, pop, twisting that fist over, twisting the fist over. From here, we're going to drop that lead hand, and we're going to rotate just like we would for the jab, right? But instead of tossing that fist forwards, we're going to send that fist up that center line. We want to go underneath their guard and up into the chin of that opponent. But remember, the rotation in the shoulders is the same. That twist is the same. That's where we're going to generate the power. So hit him with the 1, 2, 1, 2. And here, we've got that rear shoulder extended. As we bring it back, we're going to reach up, boom, and send that fist up the center line. Bring it back to defend the head as the other one turns in. We're going to rotate, bring in that elbow and fist into the center line and drive it up, boom, into an uppercut there. 1, 2, slip, 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 slip. And now let's fire those uppercuts from the slip. Dropping the fist. Whoosh, 1, whoosh, 2. Up that center line. Engage in the core using that power of breath. Hit him with the 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Remember, on that 1, 2, twist that fist over. Land on the large knuckles. Thumb tucked. Wrist nice and straight for all of our movements. 1, 2. Slip, 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 slip. Hook, hook, hook. Hook, uppercut, 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 right up that center line. Same thing, landing on those large 2 knuckles, keeping the wrist straight, fingers closed, thumb tucked, squeeze at impact. Bring it back to defend, the rear one drops, roll in through the shoulders, and drive it up that center line, keeping the defense high on the opposite hand. Bring it back to guard, and let's work on some speed punches. 1, 2, and now we're going to use that breath, short, powerful breaths, and we're going to go for 3 punches here. 1, 2, 3. 3 powerful breaths out. Very short, metered breaths there. Let's try it together. powerful breaths out of the mouth to add speed into those punches and activate the core. Let's go for 4 strikes here. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. 4 strikes down that center line, and pulse that breath with those strikes, adding speed to them. Going for 5 strikes now. Back to stance. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Short, powerful breath. Put some resistance in those lips. Work those punches, and let's drill them. Back to stance. 6 strikes in a row. 6 tiny breaths out while you let that breath link with the pulse in that punch, the whip in the punch. Back to stance. 6 punches. Let's go. Back to stance. Back to stance. Back to stance. Back to stance. And that is the end of round 3. Hopefully you found room to grow and places that you can improve on your skill, on your technique. Learn some of that wrist control, that fist control, proper finger position, proper thumb position, and a couple of moves that you can use whether you're seated or standing. So even if you're sitting down at a restaurant and someone gets in your face, you got some tools to fall back on. Hopefully it never comes to that. Always want to avoid a situation or altercation as much as possible, but it's better to be capable of defending yourself if you are caught in a difficult situation. So shout out as well to Ellen. Thank you for joining. I appreciate that support out there, and I will catch all you guys and girls next time. Same Sack time, same Sack channel, same Sack life. Sack man out.